Here in Paris, police have banned protests opposite the country's parliament. That comes following unrest triggered by the government imposing a pensions reform and bypassing a vote on the issue. Well, that protest ban stretches from Place de la Concorde and its surroundings to parts of the Champs-Élysées. Opposition MPs have meanwhile filed two motions of no confidence. They're set to be debated in Parliament on Monday. They're hoping to garner enough support to topple the cabinet and repeal the law to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. Well, let's get you some analysis on this issue now. Ariane Bogain is a senior lecturer in French politics at Northumbria University. Ariane, thanks for speaking to France 24 this afternoon. There are two scenarios, essentially, that could come from these votes of no confidence set to be debated in Parliament on Monday. Either it passes or it doesn't. If it does, presumably this is likely to trigger a political crisis.
Yes, if it passes, the government will fall, which then will lead to a political crisis, and Macron will have two choices: either immediate dissolution and new election, or appoint a new government, lie low for a few months, maybe do some consensual reform, and then dissolution at a later stage where it is less likely to have an electoral rout. If it does pass, it will be a huge shock because people are expecting it to be not to pass. And then we'll have, it will be very interesting to see what Macron does. It will be a huge shock, though, if it does pass.
It's interesting that you say, because there are many certainly, here saying, well, look, we don't really expect this motion to pass. Why do people feel it's such an unlikely possibility at this stage?
At this stage, it's because for the motion to pass, you will need roughly half of the Republican right LR members of parliament. Now, it would be political suicide, really, for LR to vote for the motion. Why? First of all, because whether they like it or not, they are associated with this reform. Okay, there was a deal with the government on it. The Senate, who's dominated by LR, passed it. So if they vote against the government falls and we have election, then you could be sure that LR will be punished, electorally punished, because they are associated with this reform. The second reason is they will lose all credibility. This is a party that has been advocating increasing the legal age forever. You know, Fillon in 2017, Pécresse in 2022, they always said that they want to increase the age. So for LR to topple a government that is effectively implementing what they want will totally shatter their credibility. What might happen is that some of them might choose to abstain, but under Article 49.3, abstention is counted in favor of the government. That's why it's really difficult at this moment to see the motion pass.
I want to stay with this idea of credibility, Ariane, because the French President Emmanuel Macron is being questioned, if you will, by many about why he's deciding now to forge ahead with this controversial reform, particularly given the context where a lot of people in France have got other things on their mind, inflation, for example. Yeah. Why do you think that from the president's perspective, this is an essential reform to pass now?
I mean, I think that, right from the start, the timing was wrong. I mean, usually you do start with the unpopular reform at the beginning of your term, and then you go for the kind of giveaways at the end. But it should have waited because, as you said, inflation, war in Ukraine, still the kind of post-COVID hangover, so to speak. So the timing was wrong. But once he has decided to do it, then he has to see it through, because if he doesn't see it through, then his own credibility would be totally shattered, and he would become a lame duck for the remainder of his mandate. So as soon as he decided that it had to be done, he had to see it through, but the timing is wrong.
The timing is wrong, you say, Ariane. Is a climb down absolutely impossible, given this question of credibility and whether he'd be a sitting duck if he were to do so?
Well, I mean, there's no climb down, and at the beginning you said there was two scenarios. I would like to add a third scenario. If it goes through, as in, if the motion is rejected, the reform is passed, it then goes to the Constitutional Council, it then becomes law, then a lot will depend on the reaction of the French and the street. And the third scenario would be what happened in 2006, when a mass protest and mass striking succeeded in forcing President Chirac of removing a law. So that's the third scenario that we can't discount. If the movement against this law becomes much bigger than it has been so far. But using Article 49.3 has inflamed the situation, and we'll see on Thursday in the next union action if the numbers are there. It is possible, if they manage to put the country at a standstill, that the government will have no choice but to actually remove the law, just like it did in 2006.
Ariane, we are running out of time. In a word from you, do you expect these protests to continue?
Yes, I am expecting this protest to continue. How big they will be, that I'm not sure, because we are in a bit of a fog at the minute.
All right. Ariane Bogain, a senior lecturer in French politics at Northumbria University.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your ideas with us today.